Okay, y'all, we're back for a bonus video this week because honestly, this full moon is crazy. And it's very tightly aspected in my chart, so maybe that's part of why I feel strongly about it, but also it's a lot. It is starting the week off on Moon Day with a full moon in detriment is enough for it to be kind of crunchy because the moon doesn't love being in Capricorn. No shade to natal Capricorn moons. I have a Capricorn moon, but it's a lot. It's hard on the body, it's depleted, it doesn't really have the resources it needs, and it depends on Saturn for that. And Saturn is very slow. It's the slowest moving planet of the traditional seven bodies. And with that, it means it can take a long time to get what you need. But Saturn currently is also not in the best condition. It's in Aries in fall and is really struggling there. Now, Saturn itself is ruled by Gemini Mars. Mars is freshly ingressed into Gemini. That's normally kind of like, it's whatever. Except because there's more. Mars is currently applying to Uranus, which is traditionally, I'm just going to be real, it's a disaster transit. And we've been seeing a lot of that. We've had some crazy earthquake action. There's a lot of forest fires. The air quality is garbage and very aggressive, like literally Mars in an air sign, angry air. There's been some electrical issues. There's been tech issues. And if that sounds a little Mercury retrograde-y, Mercury also stations retrograde in Cancer right before the full moon, same day. The moon rules Cancer, which means the moon is ruling this Mercury retrograde, is a detriment full moon ruled by a fallen Saturn, while the retrograde Mercury is ruling Mars and Uranus in Gemini, as well as the south node at the very end of Virgo. This is a lot. This is breathless. And it's ruling Jupiter at the very end of Cancer, so it's kind of spoiling the very last day of that transit because Jupiter is going to move over into Leo. So this full moon chart it's very intense, and it's also very exact. There's also the square to Neptune. Both the sun and the moon are squaring Neptune when they hit that exact opposition. Jupiter is applying to the opposition with Pluto. And then, we have Uranus is very tightly trine Pluto. It's messy. It's really messy. And so what does all this mean? For those of you who aren't astrologers, my astrologer friends are all nodding along oh, that's terrible. And it means, in particular, a lot of classical astrology will treat the moon as the people. And, the sun as rulers. And so with the moon in such rough shape, and that square to Neptune is not helping with the depletion, there is a sense that the populace will suffer. Where I am, the moon is going to be in the second house when it goes exact. And there is this resources being taken away. I do think there's disaster vibes this week, I won't lie. And on top of that, military aggression, things getting contaminated or broken due to bad infrastructure. You can view this as warehouses, factories, transportation systems collapsing, and then people losing resources they rely on, food or medicine or things like that. And so I'm not saying doomsday prep, but if you can get things on hand, do. And on top of that, have things not just for you, but to help the people near you. The way that we remediate a struggling Capricorn moon and a struggling Saturn is to look to the marginalized, is to look to the ill, is to look to the disabled and the people who really need our help the most. The disenfranchised and orphaned children. These are the people that we help to bolster and aid that for ourselves. And so I want you all to help each other this week. I want you, like, this Mercury retrograde is a longer story. And so because of that, because this full moon is ruling the Mercury retrograde, it's not just the normal, oh yeah, the full moon is however long the moon is in that sign, like 2.5 days in Capricorn, and then the energy dissipates. We actually are going to be carrying it through the retrograde because it's part of the stationing signature. And the day that it stations, like, that's kind of like the birth chart for the retrograde. And I want you to really think about, like, how do we do more with less? Like, that's the vibe for this retrograde and this full moon. How do we do more with less? And I want to just pull some cards right now and see, like, what our general theme is. Okay, yeah, and so this doesn't surprise me. I've had several cards in the weekly walkthrough, which please do watch that because I go into more detail about the larger story and especially like the Uranus-Mars conjunction, which do not love. But we have rewritten history reversed and the Seven of Wands reversed. And so this feels like there's just a lot of fighting over narrative energy, and, you know, with Mars and a Mercury sign, there's a lot of competing stories, not knowing what really happened, and fighting past the point that it's good for us. And so I want you to be willing to let go, not of the truth in general, because the truth is important, but I want you to weigh how important it is versus what actions are happening. And I also want you to think about whether or not you are fighting fights that need to be fought. Like, this is not about having the high ground. This is like being petty over semantic details that don't really matter in the moment. And, you know, also recognizing that people might not be telling the truth, but that doesn't mean you have to argue with them. You can let them have their reality and you can focus on the things that matter to you. And that's what I really want for everybody this week. I really want people to focus on what matters. And in terms of what's going to help us, let's pull a different pile, see what we got going on. Okay, so we have the Ten of Wands, and this is a particular one where it's a lady working a late night using her phone to illuminate the lock so she can get home. And this feels like, know what your burdens actually are. Like, it's going to be a tough week. We're going to have a lot to do. And this is doubly true for anyone that has the moon, Mercury, or Mars as Time Lords. Like, by any of the Time Lord techniques, if that's you, pay extra careful attention to the transits this week. Feel free to ask me questions in the comments if you need more about that. But with that, the Ten of Wands isn't always about putting things down. It's not always about doing less. It's about knowing that you are at capacity and that you need to hit the finish line. And I feel like that's what this is this week. Like, not taking on more, not starting new things, but honor your obligations and see it through. Now, our unexpected ally for the week. Okay. We have the Three of Wands, which is like, I actually feel like this is about, like, with the travel component, like people who are not from the same place we are. Like, I don't want to use the term foreigner, but, you know, like someone from somewhere else, somebody who's not necessarily local to you could be a good ally. And like making those connections, making those networks, the people who have already established those networks of mutual aid are going to be really helpful. And we also have Venus reversed. And this is about just making sure you bring pleasure in, even when things are hard. Bring in pleasure, bring in care, and just try to do right by yourself in that way. It's not easy, but I know you can. All right. I love you guys. I am so sorry for all the astrologers that are fear-mongering, myself included. I'm a Saturnian. I get accused of that a lot. I don't necessarily view it as fear-mongering so much as like, oh, here are all the obstacles ahead. Here's what we do about them. Be aware so you can do stuff. But I know that doesn't land for everybody. So I just want to say, the sky keeps on turning. Is this like one of the worst weeks of the year? And is this a transit that a lot of people, like the Mars and Uranus conjunction, that a lot of people have been worried about for a long time, like decades? Yeah. But we're here. It's what we've got. So let's get to doing what we need to and take care of each other. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Say that to somebody else. Say that to yourself. We'll make it through. See you on the other side.